Monroe, Coach Smart told us after the Auburn game about how badly you wanted to play in that game. Just what was that week like for you, not being able to do a ton at practice, and then how did you gut it out game day, being able to go out there and play like you did?
It was definitely a little weird because I will say, like, even in those first couple of days, I was in a boot for a while, and I was just like, I'm kind of uncertain, and like being injured and not going out to practice, it flies by whenever you're not out there actually playing, and it was a little weird. And we get to Friday, I think it was, we have our little walkthrough, and I wasn't feeling great, but I was so adamant about playing. I mean, I was sleeping with a game ready. I don't know if you guys know what those are called, but I was basically sleeping while icing my ankle every single night. So I wanted to be out there so bad. Even if I didn't get to play, I wanted to be there for my teammates and just be there in the chaos, because I've been in that stadium before and I knew it was going to be a tough environment.
I want to kind of follow up on that a little bit. Were coaches like just really willing to put you in? You had to kind of convince them a little bit that, hey, I'm okay. I can get this done.
I mean, I don't think I was technically supposed to play.
Yeah.
I wanted to play, but a lot of people were telling me, like, think about yourself a little bit. But I got out there and I was like, I actually feel pretty good, and I think that I can manage to play. But those first two drives were going, and I was just trying to console Bo and just trying to talk to him. And then Coach Sales came up to me and was like, "Are you good to go in?" And I was like, "No, I thought you never asked." I'd love to go out there and play.
So where do you feel like you are physically now, a few weeks removed from that? And do you feel more comfortable going compared to where you were at that Auburn game?
Yeah, it's 100% like better, and I'm happy we have this bye week, so I can really rest it and use the weekend too to rest it. And I think that, coming in this next week, I'll probably be 85 something percent, but just being this far in the season, you're going to be beat up regardless. So it's just a matter of how well I can manage it.
Yeah. You're playing through pain, obviously, but you're also playing quite well in that span. What does that do for your confidence, knowing that even though you're not 100%, you're still able to help this football team and improve over the course of the year?
I think that being hurt, I think that a lot of what happens is you kind of compensate. So I think I've been able to work on different parts of my game, having to be a little hurt. And so it gives me confidence that knowing when I am completely healthy, I'll be able to kind of put all the parts of my game together and really play at my full potential.
Kirby was talking about on Saturday how Gunner has been playing through some bumps and bruises as your quarterback. You're doing it. I'm sure, like you said, a lot of these guys are. Just do you see that having an impact on the other guys in your huddle, just in practice when you're watching? Hey, we're banged up and we're here. Does that spread throughout the team, and if so, how?
I think you said it, like everyone else is hurt, but knowing that our quarterback, I think he's gotten a lot better at not taking those big hits. The Kentucky game, I remember I got hurt and I was in the locker room watching the game, and I saw him go like for a scramble for a first down. He was going, and I saw him take a slide, and I was like, that's the smartest decision I've seen Gunner make so far this season. And I think it really helps when that someone's hurt and that they're fighting for the team and that they really care. And I know Gunner had that oblique injury or something, and he was hurt in the game, I could tell, but he's going out there and fighting for the team, and that really fires everybody up when they're putting the body on the line.
On Saturday against Ole Miss, I know you guys scored on every drive. Was there kind of a moment there for you guys as an offensive line where it was like, not only do we want to score, but we want to be able to go on some of these long drives and control the clock a little bit and keep their offense off the field? And kind of what's the mentality of that when you're really trying to lean on a team?
Yeah, I've been on the other side of that coin where you go off really fast, and I think being on there, giving our defense a rest so it'll be fresh, and just kind of controlling the game and taking the clock down, and because I know that's a strategy. That's a strategy you can use. Being an offensive lineman, just running the ball and just slowly taking chops of your opponent. Keep chopping. I think it's a great thing for offensive line. I think everyone on our offensive line loves to do it.
other than health, obviously, where do you feel like this offensive line has gotten better and improved throughout the season? It seems like every week is better and better, both running the ball and protecting Gunner.
Probably just getting comfortable with the amount of rotations we got going on, because we got different guys going in everywhere, left and right. And, at first it was a little hectic just because we haven't played next to each other. But now I think we've gotten so good at everybody playing everywhere and playing with different people and kind of trusting each other that it doesn't really matter who's going to be in the game. We're all going to be on the same page. We're all going to want to compete together and communicate and work as a unit.
We've gotten used to Tate for the last couple of years being a pretty loud voice in the offensive line room. I know this line has had to come together and, as you said, go through a lot of transactions in terms of who's playing where. How would you describe the personality? Who are some of the voices and personalities that you're seeing emerging now that you guys are coming together and having so much success?
I'd say, Bobo, me, Micah, a lot of the older guys. And I think, Donnie, when he first got here, he didn't say anything. And come camp, he blows somebody up on a block, and I hear him say something for the first time. I was like, I didn't know you had that much personality. And he hasn't stopped. And Coach Searles, eats it up, and it's a great energy. And Juan always got a smile on his face. It's really, I think the best thing about this offensive line room that it's just a lot of people together. And I wouldn't say there's one leader, but I think we're all bought into the same thing. And it makes it really easy to go out there and have fun and play football together for each other when we're all bought in.
I want to ask you specifically about Dontrell and Juan, the job they've done as true freshmen. How important they've been to you guys at this point in the year?
It's beyond. I couldn't have done it as a freshman. I wasn't ready. And the fact that Donnie got here in the summertime, didn't even have a spring, and Juan fighting through injury, as big as he is, learning all the plays, it's really good. And I think that them coming here and playing as freshmen and actually, I'd say dominating. They're doing a great job. It's beyond impressive, and I'm really proud of those guys for stepping up and going out there and playing like veterans in the SEC.
Yeah, the fourth down conversion you guys had in the third quarter, from an offensive line standpoint, what's sort of your mindset when you get the support from Kirby that, hey, we're going to go for this and get this yard? And then on that play in particular, just how big is Josh, not obviously in terms of literal size, but just in terms of his ability to keep moving forward and fall forward and get the yard you guys need?
Yeah, he's a unit. I think it was the Tennessee, I think it was, where he fought, Coach Heem pulled back two guys and reached into the zone. Having a back like that can go in there and regardless if we all miss our blocks, he'll go and fight for the yard. It's huge just from the morale and knowing that. I think on that play in particular, I got tripped up or something, and probably didn't get my best block, but Josh still fought through, and got the yard. And I remember I think it was the last drive of the game. We were right there on might have been the 30-yard line. I think it was 4th and 2 or 4th and 3. And I was sitting there, I was like, come on, let's go for it. And I was like, well, we'll be up 8 points. The worst thing we can do is go into overtime. So, when we have that trust from our coach, it gives us all the confidence in the world, knowing that if he wants us to win the game, we can go out there and win the game.
Monroe, whenever you guys see Gunner take a hit, pop right back up, what kind of juice does that give you? And when he gets back to huddle, you ever say, man, you nuts or something?
All the time. All the time. I mean, I said that he got a lot better at not taking those big hits, but he'll take them, he gets back up, shakes his head a little bit, comes back in the huddle, and then starts screaming at us again. So he's a totally different guy on that field, I will tell you. He'll be most smiley, doesn't talk a lot off the field, but he gets out there, he turns into a field general.
It was mentioned earlier, the Ole Miss game, you guys scored on every drive. How much confidence does that give an offense? And then what's the key to carrying that confidence into the bye week, getting better, and then getting ready for what's essentially the second half of the season?
And we talked about fast and free all week, and that was probably the first game of the season I felt like we played like it. We went out there and just kind of cut it loose and didn't beat ourselves. Went out there and played every single play, best of our ability, and scoring every possession is pretty good. As much as Brett hates it, doesn't get to go out there and punt the ball. I was like, hey, I went up to him. I said, we're not using this game, and we didn't.
Time for one more question.
Yeah, these mantras or whatever that Kirby comes up with during the week, like let it rip, fast and free. Like, when do y'all first hear those during the weekend, and how does that manifest itself? Whether it's in practices, meetings, pregame speeches, all that stuff.
And we get first meeting of the week. We have a mantra for most weeks on how we're going to play the game, and I think after Auburn, slow start, didn't do what we wanted to. I think that matched what we wanted to do, and for the most part, I think we played that way. And whenever we have those mantras, but when you actually go out there and play and use that mantra, it gives you the belief that anything going forward is you buy into it. You're gonna play that way.
Thank you, Monroe.
Thanks, Monroe.
Appreciate it, man.